it's Reagan and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of a reflection style of video upon my failures, if you will. That's a little harsh, but kind of true. Today I'm going to be chatting through the books I wish I read in 2019. I feel like going into any new year, at least for me, I tried, I'm really bright-eyed, I'm like, I can do it all, and I have really grand plans, but ultimately while I achieve most of those grand plans, there are a few things that kind of fall through the cracks. And today I'm going to be chatting through the books that I really hope to have read this year, either because I was anticipating their release or they've been on my TBR forever and I still just have not gotten to them. So those are these books, and hopefully in 2020 they will be read because I still definitely want to read them, but unfortunately they just did not get read in the year 2019. So without further ado, let's chat through the books I wish I read in 2019. The first book is actually a reread, and that is the first novel in the Inheritance Trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. I read the Broken Earth trilogy this year by this author and loved it. Flew through it, could not put it down, and I had such plans to then continue to read all of her other books because I knew I would love them as well. And so I picked this up with such great expectation, and I just did not get to it this year. And obviously there's technically still time, but I just have another TBR that I feel like is more suited to my reading mood of this month. So I just don't feel like this will happen, but I know it will happen in 2020 because I want to read this. This is a story of gods and fallen kingdoms and revenge and all sorts of things. I did like it the first time, and I know I'm gonna like it more the second time. So yeah, this is a book I wish I got to this year, but did not. Next is a book that's honestly haunting me. A book that I anticipated so thoroughly. It came out, I was like, I'm gonna read this right away. Now fast forward 2 years later and I'm still yet to pick it up. And that is Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. This is wild. I honestly at this point need to reread The Strange the Dreamer before I can pick this book up. Also, I'm coordinating quite nicely with it. But yeah, this is just a sequel that what basically has happened is if you let too much time pass for me between reading the first and the second book, and then you let more and more time pass, the likelihood of me then reading it declines very quickly. And it's because I just don't remember what's happened. So I'm very frustrated with that. And I know I need to reread the first novel. So that's definitely where I'm at with this book. I loved the first one so much. The writing is astonishingly beautiful. I know the sequel is going to be amazing, and I just did not get to it this year. I thought I was going to read this book in January of 2019. It's December. Oh, it did not happen, but soon. But yeah, this is another beautiful lyrical YA fantasy story following a city that's been torn apart by hatred and violence, and there's magic that's kind of interweaving all these people and their slow rebuild to hopefully begin to love and trust each other again. Anyway, I need to read this. I can't believe I didn't read it this year. Next book is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I read The 7.5 Husbands, almost said deaths, of Evelyn Hugo this year and loved it so much, and I just figured I would jump right into this book. I would definitely read it this year. Something that also didn't happen. I really wanted to listen to the audiobook of this. I've heard that it's exceptional because this is kind of an interview style fiction, non-fiction story. It basically is like an interview of a rock star, and I think her experiences. Everyone loves this book. Emma particularly never stops singing the praises of this book, and I just know it's gonna be exceptional. Even my best friend who reads but is not a part of BookTube but anyway, loved this book. So the world is pressuring me. It will happen. But I think I want to do the audiobook, and I just need to figure out in what format I want to read this book. TBD, but hopefully 2020. Next is another series that has eluded me through time, and that is The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. I have had such grand plans to reread The Raven Boys for 3 years, and it just has not happened. I don't know why. I really think I'm gonna like it. I think it'll be an endearing throwback YA fantasy story for me. And she's coming out with more books in this world, and I want to read those, and I'm just getting further and further behind by the second. And this is a YA fantasy story following a young girl who's part of a very magical family. It's set in the South. It has this heavy human atmosphere, if you will, and then she meets these 4 boys who are the Raven Boys, and they're all different and special and connected in their own way, and they're trying to find ley lines. It just seems so good, and it also feels like it should be a CW show in the best way, and I just need to read it. I've actually already read this book before, but I want to reread this in the second book so I can continue on with 3 and 4, and then obviously Call Down the Hawk and all of that shenanigans. But yeah, grand plans, what can I say? But I keep saying this with all the books, soon, 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 so we'll see if that actually happens. Next book is not so bad, but also so bad, and that is The Burning White by Brett Weeks. I have been anticipating this book for years, but also because it kind of took a while for this book to come out. Not anyone's fault. I understand you gotta perfect it, and I've heard amazing reviews about this. Everyone is really liking it. They say like the writing and the plot has like gone even like better than the previous book, so like I'm so hype about this, but I need to read a comprehensive summary of book 1 through 4. Like I need to spend a couple of hours reading in-depth summaries before I jump into this because I want to be properly prepared. And so because of that, I've been putting it off, and I now just don't think I'm not gonna read it for a couple months. I'm definitely gonna read it early 2020 because I'm super excited for it and I know I'm really interested. I think I'm gonna wait till I finish Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell before I jump into this. But I also need to read comprehensive summaries. So if people have like links to any of those, if you want to leave them in a comment down below, I will be forever indebted to you. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna read this in 2020, which is shocking to me, but I will read it very soon. I know for a fact I will because I love this series. And this is a hefty book. This is like over 900 pages. You wouldn't tell because it's those really thin pages. This is a 900 page book. It is heavy. And the last book I'm going to talk about is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This is more like a tale of woe in that I cannot believe I still haven't read a book by Erin Morgenstern in the year 2019 and soon to be the year 2020. But I feel like this is actually a book I'm going to really like. It's gotten kind of mixed reviews in that I know it's a fantasy novel that has really flowery, whimsical writing, but I personally really love that. I mean, I read a lot of middle grade fantasy, and that is an element of those books that I love. Kind of ridiculous for the sake of ridiculous, and I feel like that might have an element to this in this fantasy world, which I'm honestly looking forward to. I love beautiful writing and weird whimsy. Also heard this is a fantastic winter book, so I really did want to read it this year and finally read something by Erin Morgenstern, but again, I just don't think I have enough time. But regardless, sticking on my TBR, I will get to it eventually, and I do feel like I'm really gonna like it. Alrighty guys, those are all of the books I wish I read in 2019. Let me know down below some books you wanted to get to this year, but just did not. Let me know down below some books you wish you had gotten to this year, but just ran out of time, as I would love to know, and I'll see you guys soon with another video soon. Goodbye!